What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the Celtics Talk podcast here at the Auerbach Center. I've relocated from steamy Vegas because today the Celtics introduced their newest additions, Malcolm Brogdon and Danilo Gallinari, here at the Auerbach Center. We got a chance to sit down with each of them and President of Basketball Operations Brad Stevens to discuss the moves and what's ahead for the Boston Celtics. And so we're going to give you a little listen on today's podcast, starting with our chat with Brad Stevens. All right, Brad, I want to start here. Malcolm said the trade came together pretty quickly from his perspective, but I know he's been on your radar, but from your perspective, when did this start to feel like something you could actually do this offseason?
No, it came together pretty quickly, but there are conversations throughout years of time, right, with front offices and amongst front office executives that, you know, you let them know who's on your radar for them. They let you know who's on theirs, and so these things are, you have a pretty good idea of what people are looking for or what they like from you. This was a unique situation because of the amount of people that was in the trade for us, and you know, and it was really hard to trade Daniel and to trade Aaron. You know, two guys that have been here, even though Daniel's time this time was not much. Two guys that have been here and were really invested, and so that was really difficult. And then the three guys that were included as well, like, they were great to have around, and they added a lot to our whole environment. But we knew we had to get a little bit better, and you know, I talked about it in the last press conference. I felt scoring, especially scoring off the bench, made a lot of sense for us to, you know, hopefully continue to strive for the next step.
Malcolm said you recruited him hard, trying to go to college. How hard? Like what?
One of the things one of my best qualities as a college recruiter was I knew when to get out, and so I did early. He had a connection. I forget what the exact connection. It was a family connection with Ronald Norwood, who played for us and is now an assistant coach for the Pacers. But so I was on him early, and then I watched him start to blow up, and I bowed out. And so I know who I can't get, because it's better. It's a heck of a lot better to finish first or get out early than it is to finish second when you're recruiting somebody.
Do you call Ron and get the scouting report from Indiana, or do you know at that point what you're getting in the player?
I mean, I talked to Ron enough. I got a pretty good idea. No, they. I mean, I think, you know, the first thing that stands out with both these guys, and you know, Gallo obviously had the huge game against us last year. I did tell him last night, I don't know that I've ever coached a team that played as bad as we did that night. So we definitely played a role in his 39 points, but we'll give him credit for the 10 threes off the bench.
Well, first off, he didn't even remember the game.
Oh, he remembered it. We talked about it last night. He tried to play that off. We talked about it last night. And then with Malcolm, I mean, Malcolm's right. I mean, you remember who gives you headaches in the playoffs. And so Malcolm had really good games against us with Milwaukee in the playoffs, had a couple of great games when he was at Indiana, especially early on against us. And, you know, and I've known Malcolm for a long time and know of his substance, know what he's about. You know, he came into the league as a guy that people thought would be a really tough physical defender that may be a little bit limited offensively, and he has worked really hard on his game and has become, you know, he was a 50, 40, 90 guy one year. Like, it's pretty impressive what he's done.
I mean, from the jump here, Malcolm has already stated, you know, six man. I'm eager to embrace and do that. Why was that important to you? My mind goes back a little bit to 2019, and just, you know, felt like defining roles was important. Is that fair to say for you that having defined roles moving forward is important for this group?
I mean, we've been very intentional about that for the last, you know, even last summer, same stuff. I mean, I think it's important to know that we're all going to have to give a little. It's important to know that when you're a part of a special team, you know, that requires special talent. And so ultimately, you know, the other part of that talent is the self-awareness to, you know, use your strengths to accentuate others around you and recognize that there's others with a lot of strengths too. So that's just part of a team. But communicating that, being upfront about that, making sure that we're all on one page and, you know, keep the main thing is important.
Well, what excites you most about what Danilo can bring this team?
Well, I just think, the obvious is the spacing and the shooting. And he's a hard guy to contest even when you're almost there because he's so big. He can make shots with a contest. He can get a little step back with a contest. But the other thing that, isn't the most popular thing in the world in the NBA these days is sometimes you just need to throw it on the block to a guy or throw it to the elbow to a guy. And if he has an advantage, it forces the defense to react. And some people will live with those shots to an extent. But being able to throw it to him on the block as a scorer and a passer, I think is a good thing because, one of the things about moving Jason and Jalen, or starting smart this year and starting big around Jalen and Jason, is it forced 2s and 3s to guard them a lot. And that was kind of one of the reasons why we wanted to do that. Well, now with Gallo, you've got another guy with great size where, if we're big or small, he can take advantage of his strengths.
It's the off season. There's always a lot of rumors out there. People get caught up in who might be available, who might not be. What do you
get caught up in that?
I mean, I know a guy who runs a basketball operation that I don't think gets too caught up in it. Yeah. So I don't put too much stock in it. But when you look at this roster, how comfortable are you that this is the crew and this is the crew you want to move forward with?
Well, as I said in there, I think there may be a positional need or two that we have to add, and we've got several people we're looking at to do that. We have to add without taking away. You've talked about the depth already and the fact that people have to give. And I think that we are in a good place depth-wise. If we head into the season with this group plus an add or two that, helps us, navigate with a full roster, all the ups and downs from an injury standpoint of the season, I feel really good about what this group can accomplish. When
I go through your to-do list, it's starting to get low, but you do have a couple of extension options down the road. I'm not asking you to get into the numbers and stuff like that, but how important is it to talk to Grant about that potential and further down the road? Jalen has reasons why he should wait on that, but is it important to you to present that to him and say, show how much the team wants him to be here?
Well, obviously, I won't go into when you have discussions, who do you have discussions? But yeah, it's super important to talk to your guys, right? The guys that have been here, the guys that were drafted here, and the guys that have just played their roles well here. And obviously, Jalen's had an incredible impact as a young player and a person that has already made an All-Star game. And I thought Grant made a great step this year in really embracing who he is. And that's a versatile defender who can make shots, and I think that's really important. So, yeah, we'll have those conversations, and I won't get into the details of that.
Yeah, that's fine. I knew that, but, I got to ask those questions. All right, let's end on this. When you took over a year ago, there was a whole – and again, I know you don't get caught up in all this, but there was a lot of, okay, this guy's a coach. How's this going to go? But I know how much you love building teams. It's been whirlwind. I don't know when you've had a chance to breathe, but how much have you enjoyed this process, and how much are you enjoying – just kind of building this thing out?
Yeah, I think the part that I probably didn't realize is how little of your time is spent on roster construction. It's so very little when you factor in the 70 people in basketball operations or 60 people in basketball operations and all of their, careers as well, right? And so whether it's building a team on the court that plays well together or being a part of a group that is helping build a team that works every day together, we have a lot of people that are adding a lot all over this building, and we're really lucky. We didn't have a ton of change when I moved over. Obviously the coaching staff changed. We had a few personnel changes from a playing standpoint, but we have a lot of familiar people in the building, and we've just tried to make it robust and with the appropriate ads in the building as well. So that's been a lot of my focus and a lot of my attention. We've got a great building, a building that works in one direction, a building that stays on point and stays on message and, understands how hard it is to be a player and a coach in this league. And so that's, our job is to be here to support, and we'll just keep trying to do that. So I look at our role as, probably 5-10% roster construction and 90% support network. That's what we're here for.
Do you need a break, or are you ready for the new season?
No, I'm not going to wish the break away. At the end of the day, I never will do that, right? It's great for everybody. And we talked about Tatum with this. These guys need that. Our coaches need it. The front office needs it. The Mike Zarens and Austins and Remy Cofields and Dave Loons and Allison Feasters and all the people that, they haven't stopped since the season ended. They've just kept going. And so it'll be good to take a deep breath knowing that we want to go on another long run. And we have a team that's capable of doing that, but that nothing's guaranteed. Like, it's going to be really hard. There's a lot more examples of teams that made the finals that, were first or second round exits the next year than made it again.
Last thing I'll leave you with, training camp, Newport. Think about it. Thank you, Brad.
Nope, we're here. We got a beautiful facility. I know you love Newport, but we're here.
All right, Malcolm, I want to start here. Brad was talking about putting the hard press on you in college. That's just how aggressive was he with that recruitment?
He was fairly aggressive. Butler's a mid-major, but it's one of the better mid-majors in the country, and honestly, when he was there, one of the best programs in the country. So, he recruited me hard. But it was hard going up against the ACC schools. So I ended up picking Virginia because of the exposure I'd get.
Mm-hmm. Well, it all worked out for him in the end. When you got the call, you said that Boston was a little bit of a surprise when it came together and how quickly it came together. What's the first thing that came to mind in terms of like what you're most excited about when joining an organization like this?
I think the level at which they do things, whether it's the food, how they fly, how they're treating the players. It's going to be a quality organization, top of the line, and that. When you treat your players like that, it equates to championships, and that's it speaks for itself. How many banners are hanging behind me? We're competing for something special.
What was it like going up against the Celtics in recent seasons, and what were your impressions of Jalen, Jason, the core of this team?
Extremely talented young group that only needed experience in order to take that next step, and now they have the experience and they've taken the next step, and they need small pieces like me, like Gallo, just to continue to help them and. Reach that real goal that we're trying to get to.
I mean, you said from the jump here, like 6-man, you're going to embrace that. I mean, they have enough minutes for you to play a heavy role, but how do you mentally prepare yourself for that change in role?
You take your ego out of it. I've proven I can be a 20-point scorer. I've had a few accolades in the league, but all that's irrelevant when you're trying to win a championship. When you're coming to a team that is on the cusp of that and has chemistry and has the guys to do it. So what I want to do is come and add, not take away.
Brad talked about you have a relationship with Marcus. Tell me a little bit about that.
Just playing him, in the league for so long, talking to him, briefly after games. I know he's a really good dude. I know he's one of the best, very best competitors in the NBA. So to be able to play on his team is going to be a privilege. It's going to be fun.
And then with Jalen, so you guys you were two down there in Atlanta when all the stuff in the bubble was going on. What was that like, and what is your relationship like with Jalen?
JB I know is a really good guy. He's a like-minded guy like me. We care about a lot of the same stuff. And off the court, we did march together. He led that protest. I helped him sort of facilitate it and see it through. And we've really built our relationship even more since then. So when I realized I was going to Boston before he got the news, we were FaceTiming. I was telling him, he was excited. I think it's going to be a great match. What
has the reaction been from the guys here to hear that you're coming, and what are those FaceTimes like?
Guys are really excited to add a player like me that they know is about winning. At the end of the day, they know I'm about winning.
Tell me, you said your grandfather was a big Russell and Auerbach fan. So what was it like? Were you steeped on Celtics history as a child?
I was steeped on Bill Russell and Auerbach history. Not as much Larry Bird, but of course I knew about the legend. But my grandfather adored the Celtics, and I heard a lot about them.
Did you know that Danny Ainge always once said that his biggest regret was not drafting you?
I've heard that. Sort of through the grapevine, but. I'm here now, so it all works out full circle.
So, how excited are you just to see all this together? Like, they just got off of a long season. Everyone kind of needs a break. But are you just, eager to get going and get this thing?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready to
moving?
go. I'm revved up. I keep telling people I feel like my fire's been relit coming to Boston. I'm hungry, man. I'm hungry. I want to win.
All right. Malcolm, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, I want to start. I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball to start here. This photo has been circulating on social media.
Yeah.
That's you.
That's me. Yeah.
Can you explain to me how you were in full Celtics regalia? What age was that, do you think?
I was 17,
Okay.
16, 17, and I grew up. My dad was a big Celtics fan, big Larry Bird fan, his favorite player. So growing up, it was always Celtics and Larry Bird, and Larry Bird is the best one ever. He's a legend. So we were, always talking about the Celtics, and my dad was the biggest fan. And so I think that's a sweatsuit that my mom. I don't know where my mom found it, where she bought it. She bought it for me, and I was wearing it. That's the photo. I was at the gym, but I was wearing that even when I was going to school in the morning. I was wearing it all the time. So
How surreal is it then to now be a part of the Boston Celtics?
it's great. It's great, and when I look at that picture, I get chills, goosebumps, because it's a great story, great circle.
How much? So did you grow up on Larry Bird highlights? Like how much? How much Celtics could you even watch over there?
We couldn't, back then we didn't have a lot of NBA coming to Italy, but my dad was able to get some, those VHS that you were able to watch. He was recording some games during the night, and then I was able to watch those games in the morning. But of course, we didn't have a lot of videos, but the few videos that we had, I was watching them over and over all day.
How much of your shooting stroke comes from Larry Bird?
I mean, it was amazing. I'll say that I'm a pretty good shooter, and so I think we got that part right. But of course, Larry is a legend, and is something that is somebody that was always looking to try to be like him, and now we're here.
Take me through this offseason. Wild, like you get traded to San Antonio, the buyout process. You said it was a no-brainer to decide on Boston. What was like that whole span like?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of teams that I could pick, but when it comes, to, and it's always been about winning for me. When it comes to winning, and I was looking at the teams that I had and what the Celtics did, not just in the history, what they did recently, what they did last year. I was excited. It didn't take me that long to pick the Celtics, and many reasons. But like I said, it was a no-brainer. I got the Celtics on my table. We go into Boston. I'm going to Boston, and we need to accomplish something special.
What have your conversations been like? Have you talked to a lot of the guys on the core of the team? How excited are they to have you here?
I hope they're very excited. I'm sure they are. Talk to JT, talk to Jalen, I talk to Al, and we all excited. We can't wait to start working together and working to accomplish goals that I'm sure that we all have in mind.
What was it like going up against this team in recent seasons and trying to defend Jason Tatum and all that? Like, what's it like from the other side watching this group?
It's always tough to play against them, especially when you play in Boston. When you play at the TD Garden is always tough to win there, and when you have that home court advantage and you play for a franchise like this, is always something that you think about. What if I can play here at home with these fans? It's happening now, and so it's something that I'm very excited about.
How do you think you can help this team the most?
Just helping in any way I can, defensively, offensively. I've always been a very versatile player. I played in, this is going to be my 15th season, so I played for different coaches, different systems, and I never had a problem. And so to adapt and play in a new system is just something that excites me. And I'm sure, like I said, that I can help these great players offensively and defensively.
And you got your number 8.
Yeah, and I got the number 8, which is something very important to me. I was born 88, and that's why I got number 8. 8 has always been my jersey number, and so I'm happy.
It's tough around here. I don't know if they get the retired numbers on the other side there, but the guys come in and they never get their number. So it's just all. I'm telling you, like the stars are aligning for you.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll see.
What's it been like? So I can see Malcolm walking around looking at the banners behind us. What's it like to be coming in with him, knowing like that you two, they felt like are the missing pieces from getting him to the finish line of that finals championship?
I was very happy when I found out that Malcolm was coming. He's not just great player, of course, smart player, great IQ, but he's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's a winner. And he's a guy that he has been doing a lot of work with the PA. That's something to not underestimate. I think that he's been spending a lot of time and doing a great job with that. That's very important for us as players to represent and do the job that he's doing, representing us with the PA. And that's something that I talk about. I talk about it a lot with the players, with the people, with the fans, and being grateful for the job that he has done.
You talked about a little bit on the podium, the urgency. Can you stress that this is a younger group, but that was just 2 wins away from a title? But how do you get them to understand that these moments don't come along?
Honestly, I think that they know. I was talking about the experience that I had in Atlanta, where they didn't know, because they've been going through a lot of losing season, a lot of losing years. But here, even if they are so young, when you think about JT and Jalen, they are 24, 25, I think. So they're very young, but they're young with a lot of experience. So they know. I think that's something that I don't have to tell them or repeat to them. Everybody in the team knows, and that's something that you don't even have to talk about every day, because something that you know and is behind you, and is something that is going to push you, throughout the whole season.
Have you got a chance to explore at all?
A little bit.
I had people sending me pictures of you, I think, in the North End. Were you out there?
For sure. Yesterday I was there. 2 days ago I was there. We got in from Italy. It's a long flight. We got in the morning, and me and my dad, we walked for 3 hours and a half yesterday, all around the city. It was, of course, first time for my dad. But for me, playing against the Celtics for so many years, I've been walking around, but the North End is where I go to dinner most of the time. And so I'm glad that I'll be able to see and explore and try different restaurants.
All right. Well, welcome to Boston. Thank you so much for your time, Danilo.
Appreciate it.